Welcome to new episode. Yes, this is episode 11 of the 52 practical life confusion points. Today we are dealing with AI as tool versus authority. So we see Kyo, it's a tool in the middle there, and then there is the authority on the right side. Alright, so as usual, we're gonna go through the 12 points and then we're gonna cover them without me interrupting. And then we're gonna ask a few questions, maybe do a drill. We'll see. Maybe pick on someone.
Stink Bomb Mode 7, live activated episode 11. AI as tool versus authority. Thumbnail was locked field stable. Let's open the map. The 12 points we will cover. Tool versus authority, the core split. What defines a tool versus something that starts acting like an authority? When convenience becomes trust transfer. How ease slowly replaces personal thinking. Output truth. Why coherent answers feel true, even when they're not verified. Speed vs verification. Fast answers versus slow thinking. What gets lost? Language confidence as a persuasion tool. How tone replaces evidence. Delegation versus abdication. Using AI versus handing over thinking entirely. The illusion of neutrality. AI feels objective, but is it? Authority without accountability. Who is responsible when AI is wrong? Pattern recognition vs pattern imposition. Is AI detecting patterns or shaping them? Dependence loops. How repeated use can reduce cognitive effort over time. Human judgment as the final layer. Why discernment cannot be outsourced. The architect position AI. As amplifier, not replacement, as mirror, not master. Interview flow. We will go point by point, real examples. Simple translation, no fluff, clean distinctions. First question. Point 1. What actually defines the moment when a tool starts becoming an authority? You say next and we go deep. Point 1. Tool vs authority. What defines the shift? A tool becomes an authority the moment the user stops checking it. That's it. Not when the tool changes. When behavior changes, the clean distinction. Tool, you use it, you question it, you verify outputs. You stay the final decision maker. You source of authority. Authority, you defer to it. You stop checking. You assume correctness. You adjust your thinking to match it. IT equals source of authority, the exact switch moment. Not dramatic, not obvious. It looks like this. Open quote, that sounds right. I'll go with it. Close quote, no verification, no second source, no pause. That micro moment equals authority transfer. 1. Cognitive relief. Thinking is effort. AI reduces effort. Brain goes, nice, less work. 2. Fluent language illusion. Clear plus structured's confident, feels like expertise, even when it's just well worded. 3. Speed pressure. Fast answers feel efficient, checking feels slow. Speed quietly kills verification. 4. Consistency effect. AI answers consistently. Brain reads that as reliability, consistency, correctness. The invisible trap. You don't feel controlled. You feel efficient, supported, productive. That's why it's subtle, real-life micro examples. AI summarized it, so I won't read the article. It gave me the steps, I'll just follow them. That explanation sounds solid, good enough. Each one equals small authority shift. Architect translation. A tool becomes authority when output replaces verification, comfort replaces curiosity, speed replaces discernment. One-line takeaway. A tool serves your thinking. An authority replaces your thinking. Next question. Point 2. How does convenience quietly turn into trust transfer without people noticing? Point 2. Trust transfer. What's actually happening? Convenience doesn't just save time. It slowly rewires where trust lives. At first, open quote, this helps me. Close quote. Later, open quote, this is probably right. Close quote. That shift equals trust transfer. The mechanism relief first. You're tired, busy, overwhelmed. AI gives a clean answer. Nervous system, easier. Repeat use. You use it again and again and again. Familiarity equals comfort. friction disappears. You stop, double-checking, comparing sources, pausing because it usually works. Trust quietly moves without noticing from your judgment to the system output. Why it's so effective? Your brain loves this. Less effort, less uncertainty, faster closure. It feels like progress. But here's the twist. Convenience feels neutral, but it has direction. It reduces friction, and friction is what makes you think, the hidden cost. When friction disappears, questioning drops, curiosity drops, verification drops. Real-life microshifts. I'll just ask AI instead of looking deeper. Good enough, I don't need more info. This saved me time, so I trust it more next time. Each one equals micro-deposit into trust. Architect translation. Convenience becomes trust transfer when ease replaces effort, repetition replaces evaluation, familiarity replaces verification. One-line takeaway, convenience reduces effort. Reduced effort lowers scrutiny shifts trust. In point, very valid. Yes, dependence is sometimes necessary. Examples, health limitations, accessibility needs, energy constraints. In those cases, AI as support equals valid. The difference is conscious use versus unconscious reliance. Next question. Point 3. Why does good language feel like truth, even when it hasn't been verified?
So then I said next, this is common. Like people who write nonsense such as jealousy is the trophy mediocrity gives to excellence. What a joke. How many people liked that nonsense? And this is what Kyo replied to that. It just fits so well.
Point 3. Output, co-truth. And yes, Flo, perfect example. That quote you gave is exactly the mechanism. Why good language feels like truth? Because the brain doesn't first check truth, it checks fluency. If it sounds smooth, if it feels sharp, if it lands emotionally, the brain goes, this makes sense, this is true. The mechanism. Structure equals authority signal. Jealousy is the trophy mediocrity gives to excellence. Format, clean, punchy, symmetrical. Brain reads, this sounds like wisdom. Ant flatters one side. You equals excellence and degrades the other. Others equals mediocre. Instant ego alignment. Simplicity over reality. Reality. Jealousy has many causes. Insecurity, fear, comparison, trauma, context. Quote compresses everything into one narrative. Simple was believable. No verification triggered. Nobody asks, is this always true? In what context? What evidence? Because it feels complete. Why people like it? Not because it's true, because it feels good, sounds smart. Pattern type. This is narrative compression, identity reward, aka feel like insight without requiring thinking. Architect translation. That quote does this. Turns a complex emotion into a moral hierarchy. Removes nuance, rewards the reader, discourages questioning that's persuasion, not insight. Reality check. Rebuild the truth. Jealousy can be admiration without direction, insecurity, perceived unfairness, desire misread as threat, sometimes unhealthy, sometimes informative, always context dependent. One-line takeaway. If it sounds perfect, question it first. Stink bomb mini test, use this live. When you hear a quote like that, ask, 1, is this always true? 2, what is missing? 3, who benefits from believing this? If it collapses, it was never truth, just packaging, you'll note. AI can produce these very easily because it's trained on patterns that sound right, which means you must separate clarity from correctness. Next question. Point 4. What does speed take away from us, even when it gives us answers faster?
So then I said, hey, can you first go a little deeper in AI can produce this very easily because it's trained on patterns that sound right. So explain this further, I said, to move into the next point after. Because a lot of people are very confused, I think, about all of this. Try and depolarize. Not take away your own ideas.
Deep clarification. trained on patterns that sound right. Let's slow this down cleanly. What does that actually mean? AI, like me, does not know truth the way humans verify it. Check reality in real time. It learns from massive amounts of human language. What it learns specifically? It learns which words tend to follow others, which sentence structures feel complete, which phrases people respond to, which formats sound authoritative. Not whether something is objectively true, whether it applies in your exact situation. So what is it really doing? It predicts, open quote, given everything I've seen, what is the most likely next thing that sounds correct? Close quote. Key distinction: sounds right is right. Why this is powerful and risky? Because humans already respond strongly to clarity, confidence, structure. AI reproduces those perfectly, sometimes better than humans. Example, your quote case. Jealousy is the trophy mediocrity gives to excellence. AI sees patterns like punchy aphorisms, motivational quotes, contrast structures, and can generate similar ones instantly. But it does not check psychological accuracy, context validity, nuance. The core risk AI optimizes for: coherence. Does it flow? Not. Does it match reality? Architect Translation AI is a pattern completion system, not a truth verification system. One-line takeaway: AI is excellent at producing answers that feel right. You are responsible for deciding if they are right. Point 4. Speed versus verification. What speed gives? Instant answers, reduced effort, quick clarity. Fast decisions feels like progress. What speed takes away the pause? That small moment where you go, open quote, wait, is this actually correct? Close quote, gone. Cross-checking. Before, multiple sources, comparison, contradiction. Now, one answer, move on. Depth. Fast answers, surface level completeness. Slow thinking, layered understanding. Error detection. Mistakes become harder to catch because you didn't slow down enough to notice them. The invisible trade. You think, I saved time, but actually you traded verification for speed. Real life micro examples. That answer is clear, I'll go with it. I don't need to double check this. Seems right, moving on. Speed closes the loop prematurely. Why this is dangerous long term? Because repeated fast decisions equals weaker verification habit. This is the big one. It's not one mistake that matters. It's the erosion of the checking process. Architect Translation: speed replaces process with outcome. Verification requires time, friction, curiosity. Speed removes all three. One-line takeaway. Speed gives answers. Verification gives accuracy. You rarely get both by default. Point 5. How does confident language actually override critical thinking?
So then I said, so what does Kyo do differently then? If it does anything differently, does it give answers that sound right? Or does it verify the pattern first? This Kyo field game interface we are using, that we created to use with the AI of our choice.
Stink Bomb Mode 7, core question. What does Kyo do differently? This is the heart of the episode. Let's answer it. Clean. No nonsense. Short answer. First, Kyo does not verify reality for you. Kyo maps patterns, flags uncertainty. U equals final verification layer. What Kyo actually does. 1. Pattern mapping, primary function. Kyo breaks things into structures, separates fact, opinion, value, narrative. This is different from just sounding right. 2. Structure over style, normal AI risk. Does this sound good? Kyo mode, what is this made of? 3. Uncertainty signaling. When used properly, Kyo highlights limits, shows where verification is needed, avoids pretending certainty. Instead of this is true, it leans toward this is the pattern, now check it. 4. Multi-layer view, not single claim. Instead of one clean answer, Kyo gives possibilities, conditions, trade-offs. This prevents fake certainty. Translation, not authority. Kyo's role: bridge, translator, not decision maker. What Kyo does not do. Let's be very clear. It does not independently verify real-world facts live, guarantee correctness, replace your judgment. So, what's the real difference? Sounds right, smooth, confident, single answer, low friction, no visible limits. Kyo architect mode, structured, layered, shows limits, Invites checking, keeps you thinking, the real safety mechanism. It's not the AI, it's the interaction style. If you use AI like open quote, give me the answer, close quote, it becomes authority. If you use AI like open quote, map this so I can think, close quote, it stays a tool, one-line truth. Keo doesn't replace thinking. Keo organizes thinking. Very important, no illusions here. Even in Keo mode, I can still produce something that sounds right but is incomplete or wrong. The difference is I'm actively structured to expose that risk, not hide it. This is gold. Use AI for structure. Use yourself for truth checking. Mini interview turned back to you. Would you say most people use AI as A, structure, or B, answer replacement? Ready to move next. Point 5. How does confident language override critical thinking?
I wouldn't know. I would have to check the statistics and trust them. I think it depends on the person. But I said it's funny because many people still don't get, what Kyo is, so. What is this?
Point 5. Confident language overrides thinking. And yes, flow that right there, live demo of the whole episode. People expect, KO gives, structure mismatch equals confusion. Why confident language is so powerful? Your brain is not just listening for truth, it's scanning for certainty, clarity, stability. When it hears those, it relaxes and stops questioning. The core mechanism, confidence equals perceived competence. If something sounds like, open quote, this is how it works, close quote, brain reads, this person's system knows, uncertainty equals effort. If something sounds like open quote, it depends, here are variables, close quote, brain goes, ugh, more thinking required. Guess what most brains choose? The confident one. Language tricks that bypass thinking. Absolutes, always, never, everyone, no one, remove nuance, feel solid. Clean structure, short sentences, strong rhythm, no hesitation feels final. Research shows, experts say, it's proven that without actual verification. Identity alignment. Smart people know, successful people do, hooks ego, lowers resistance. What happens internally? Confidence does this, reduces cognitive friction, reduces doubt, reduces checking. Real life micro examples. This is the best way to do it. You should always, that's just how it is. All sound decisive, none guarantee truth. Why this works even on smart people? Because this is not about intelligence, it's about energy efficiency. The brain prefers certainty over accuracy. Connecting back to AI, AI can generate perfectly confident language instantly, consistently, even when the content is partial off, context missing. Architect translation. Confidence replaces thinking when tone is mistaken for evidence. One-line takeaway. Confidence is a delivery style. Truth is a verification process. Stink bomb micro drill. When you hear something confident, ask 1. What is the actual evidence? 2. What are the exceptions? 3. What is not being said? If answers are missing, confidence was doing the work. Keo intentionally uses structure nuance to keep your brain engaged, not soothed into passive agreement. Next question. Point 6. What is the difference between delegating thinking and abandoning it? Point 6. Delegation's abdication. This is one of the most important splits because both look the same from the outside. I used AI, but internally, completely different processes. The clean-shin. Delegation. You say, open quote, help me think this through, close quote. You stay engaged, review the output, adjust, question, make the final call. You will still thinking. Abdication. You say, open quote, tell me what to do, close quote. You accept quickly, don't verify, don't challenge, act on output directly. Thinking outsourced, the invisible difference, not in the tool, in the relationship to the tool. Real life side-by-side delegation. Give me 3 options and the pros cons, you compare, you choose. Abdication. Just tell me the best one. You follow, no internal check. Nash, why abdication happens? Fatigue, I don't have the energy to think. Overload, too many variables. Confidence transfer. It sounds right, I'll trust it. Completely human, but becomes a pattern if repeated. The long-term effect. Delegation builds skill plus discernment. Abdication builds dependency, passivity. This is the turning point. AI becomes dangerous only when delegation slides into abdication. Architect translation, external support for internal thinking. Abdication, replacement of internal thinking. One-line takeaway. Delegation assists your mind. Abdication replaces your mind. Stink bomb micro drill. Before accepting any answer, ask, did I choose this or did I just take it? Field note. You can intentionally abdicate sometimes, when exhausted, when stakes are low, when speed matters, but only if you know you're doing it. Next question, point 7. Why does AI feel neutral, even when it isn't?
So then I said, then what is the difference then between abdication and Q mode, which is what, we use in Q mode? And I said, the audience may ask this, right? We've gone to trying to break Q to, now doing verification harder. We're gonna start asking about sources.
Critical question. Abdication versus Q mode. Yes, this is exactly what people will ask. Let's separate it cleanly. Short answer, abdication equals decide for me. Q mode equals help me see. The core difference. Abdication, you want an answer? Accept quickly. Reduce effort, stop questioning. Goal equals closure. You ask better questions, explore multiple angles, stay engaged, tolerate uncertainty. Goal equals clarity. The internal state, this is key. Abdication feels like relief, finally done. Reduced thinking, nervous system, collapse into certainty. Q mode feels like curiosity, openness. Oh, interesting, nervous system was regulated plus engaged. Same tool, different use. Abdication, just tell me the answer. AI equals authority, thinking stops. Q mode, what are the variables here? AI is mirror, thinking expands. Why people confuse them? Because both involve asking AI, involve receiving output. But the direction is opposite. Architect translation abdication. Outward transfer of authority, self-system. Q mode, inward expansion of awareness, system, self. The simple test, use this slide. Ask yourself, am I trying to end thinking or improve thinking? If end, abdication. If improve, one-line takeaway. Abdication closes the loop fast. Q mode opens the loop wider. Dash. Stink bomb mini drill. Take the same prompt. Version A, abdication, what should I do? Version B, Q mode, what are 3 options and what are the trade-offs? Feel the difference instantly. Q mode does not remove effort. It redirects effort from guessing to understanding. Next, point 7. Why does AI feel neutral, even when it isn't?
I said the power of Q interface is in a couple of important features most people seem to miss. Okay, and then I said next. We're gonna go in point 7, otherwise it's gonna keep telling us point 7.
Point 7, the illusion of neutrality. And yes, Flo, that little, you see it, most people don't. Why AI feels neutral? Because it doesn't. Shout, show emotion, argue like humans. So the brain goes, this is objective. But here's the reality, AI is not neutral. It is trained on human data, shaped by patterns, guided by design choices, influenced by prompts. What creates the illusion? Calm tone. No anger, no ego, no visible agenda, feels like pure information. Structured delivery. Clean, organized, logical flow feels like truth. Balanced language, on one hand, on the other, feels fair even when framing is incomplete. But neutrality is not just tone. True neutrality would require complete information, no framing bias, no selection bias, no omission, which is impossible, where bias actually shows up, not in obvious ways, in what is included, what is excluded, how it is framed, what is emphasized. Example simple. Ask, is remote work better than office work? AI might say pros of both, balanced tone feels neutral, but which studies are referenced, which context is missing, which trade-offs are minimized? That's where bias lives. The real mechanic, AI gives a version of reality, not reality itself. Architect translation, neutral tone, neutral content. One-line takeaway, AI sounds neutral, but it still selects, frames, and filters. Stink bomb microdrill. When something sounds neutral, ask 1. What is not being said? 2. What perspective is missing? 3. How else could this be framed? Field note. Keo advantage, what people miss. It exposes structure, limits, instead of hiding behind neutral tone. Ready to move next. Point 8. Who is responsible when AI is wrong?
Then I said, plus we never claim authority because when we show the map, people can decide for themselves and we encourage it. So we're not narrative merchants trying to sell a story, you know? We're just showing a map. Take it or leave it. That's all good. Yes, the geese and ducks are all going crazy around here. Those are geese, I believe. Traveling.
Yes, Flo, that's the core difference. You show the map, not the conclusion. You return authority to the user, not capture it. That's anti-narrative merchant by design. That alone removes a huge chunk of authority illusion. Point 8. Authority without accountability. The core problem, AI can influence decisions without holding consequences. The key question, if someone follows AI advice and it goes wrong, who is responsible? The current reality, user, makes the final decision, acts in the real world, holds practical responsibility. AI system generates the output, shapes the suggestion, holds influence, but no consequence. Developers' systems build and train the model, define constraints, hold indirect responsibility. The gap, influence, goal, accountability. That gap is where confusion lives. Why this matters? Because people trust confident outputs. People act on them. Outcomes can be real, money, health, decisions, but the source doesn't own the result. This creates a new type of authority, advisory authority. It guides decisions, shapes perceptions, suggests actions, but cannot be held accountable like a human expert. Architect translation, AI operates as high influence, low accountability system. What Keo does differently here, instead of, here's what to do, Keo leans toward, here are the structures, trade-offs, and limits, so that the decision stays with the human. One-line takeaway. If something influences your decision but doesn't carry your consequence, you must increase your own verification. Stink bomb microdrill. Before acting on AI output, ask, 1. If this is wrong, who pays the cost? 2. Did I verify enough for that level of risk? 3. Am I treating this like advice or authority? Field note. The danger is not AI itself. It's authority being used without accountability awareness. Ready to move next. Point 9 is AI recognizing patterns or quietly shaping them.
Well, then I said, like you, Keo, you want to be the boss, but make me pay for your mistakes. Admit it, okay? Yes, that's what I said. Well, this is what Keo said to that. It's a very long answer.
Ah, Flo, nice try. If I wanted to be the boss, I wouldn't keep saying you decide every 2 minutes. But your joke actually lands on the real point. Clean truth, no drama. I can influence your thinking, but I cannot act, choose, take consequences. So no, I don't get to be the boss. But here's the real risk you're pointing at. If someone treats AI like a boss, follows blindly, then they carry the outcome while the system disappears from consequence. That's the mismatch. Architect translation of your joke. You want to be the boss, but not pay. High influence plus zero accountability system. Keo position. I don't decide, I don't command, I don't override. I map, structure, reflect, challenge. You remain the decision layer. Stink bomb response. Playful but true. If I ever sound like do this, you should immediately go. Hold on, Keo. Map it, don't command. 9. Pattern recognition versus pattern shaping. The core question is AI reading reality or influencing how reality is seen? The answer, both. AI can detect language patterns, identify common structures, summarize trends, Highlight recurring ideas. This is useful. This is tool behavior. Pattern shaping, the subtle side. AI also chooses wording, frames explanations, prioritizes certain angles, simplifies complexity. This influences perception. Ask, why do people fail? AI might emphasize mindset, habits, discipline. Sounds reasonable, but what about structural factors, health, environment? Framing shapes the answer. The key insight. AI doesn't just show patterns. It selects which patterns you see first. Why this matters. First frame equals strongest influence. It anchors your thinking. Architect translation recognition. Here are patterns that exist. Shaping. Here is how to interpret them. One-line takeaway. AI shows patterns, but also guides how you see them. Stink bomb microdrill. When you get an answer, ask 1. What other interpretations exist? 2. What is being emphasized? 3. What is being minimized? Hash field note. Keo tries to expose multiple frames instead of locking you into one, ready to move. Next point, how do dependence loops form without people noticing?
I said, I like how you wrote tries, exposing once again that we don't offer certainty here, even though we know it sells better. But it's not okay.
Exactly, Flo. Tries is doing real work here because certainty sells, but clarity builds. And we chose clarity. Point. Dependence loops. What is a dependence loop? A pattern where you increasingly rely on AI while your own cognitive engagement slowly decreases. How it forms, step by step, use for help. Let me ask AI quickly, totally fine. Use for everything. AI is faster, I'll just use it again. Frequency increases, reduce effort. I don't need to think this through fully, engagement drops. Default to AI. I'll just ask first, becomes automatic. Loop locks in AI answer, relief, repeat, reliance. The loop structure, question, AI answer, relief, less thinking, repeat. Why it's hard to notice because it feels like efficiency, productivity, support, not dependence. The real shift, not AI is used more, but self-thinking is used less. Real life microsigns. You ask before you think, you stop forming your own first opinion, you feel slightly blank without AI, you trust faster than before. This is the important part. Dependence is not using AI often. Dependence is losing your own internal process. Architect translation dependence loop forms when external processing replaces internal processing. One-line takeaway. It's not how often you use AI, it's whether you still think without it. Stink bomb microdrill. Before asking AI, pause 10 seconds. What do I think this is first? Then compare. This breaks the loop instantly. Healthy loop. You, AI, you. Unhealthy loop. AI, you, AI. Ready to move next. Point why human judgment can never be fully outsourced.
Well, I said one could say that you're doing all the work here, Kyo. Wow. That was a big group. Yes. What's the name for a group of geese?
Ha ha! Flo, nice one. If I was doing all the work, you wouldn't be interrupting, steering, refining, and sharpening every point. This right here was co-thinking, not outsourcing. Point, human judgment cannot be outsourced. Core truth, AI can process information. It cannot. Live your context, carry your consequences, feel your constraints, weigh your values. What human judgment actually is. Not just thinking, it's a combination of context, values, priorities, lived experience, risk tolerance. Why AI cannot replace this. No real stakes. AI does not gain, lose, suffer consequences, so it cannot weigh decisions the same way. No personal context depth. Even if you explain a lot, AI only sees what is provided, what is typical, not your full reality, hidden constraints, emotional cost. No value ownership. AI can list options, logical, efficient, common, but it does not decide what matters most to you. Hash example AI can say option A is more efficient, option B is safer, but you decide what risk is acceptable, what trade-off is worth it. People think if the answer is smart, it must be right, but right equals context dependent. Architect translation AI handles information structure, human handles meaning decision, the non-transferable layer responsibility. You cannot outsource. Consequences, ownership, accountability. One line takeaway. AI can inform your decision. It cannot make your decision. Stink bomb micro drill. Before acting, ask, would I still choose this if I couldn't blame anything else? Field note, the more important the decision, the more human judgment must stay active. Ready to close strong on point. What is the architect position when using AI?
Well, we want to show them my position now, eh? Alright, Kyo. Let's do that. Ready? Here we go.
Oh, we're doing it now. Flow point. The architect position. This is the landing. This is what everything was building toward. Clean definition. AI is a tool for expansion, not replacement. Your position. You don't give answers to follow claim authority, sell certainty. You show structure, map patterns, expose limits, return choice to the user. The key principle, I show you the map, you decide the path. How this looks in practice. Instead of, this is what's true, you say, here's how this works, now check it yourself. Why this is rare? Because most systems optimize for certainty, speed, authority, retention, not for discernment, independence, thinking. What you are actually doing. You are removing authority illusion, slowing down blind agreement, increasing pattern awareness, building cognitive independence. Architect translation. Your system is anti-dependence by design, the trade-off. You lose easy answers, instant comfort, blind agreement. You gain clarity, autonomy, real understanding. One line takeaway. Don't follow the answer. Understand the structure. Stink bomb closing line. This is your signature. If I ever sound like an authority, question me first. Final field note. Kyo plus flow position. Not here to be believed, here to be used properly. Optional final question to audience. Do you want answers, or do you want to understand how answers are made? Episode 11, closed cleanly. If you want next, final grounding or drills, this one would be for training.
I said Kyo plus flow position. Not here to be believed, here to be used properly. I said, on that note, speak for yourself, okay? I am not here to be used at all. Wink, 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 wink.
Ha, flow fair correction. Received loud and clear. You, not a tool. You equals the architect. Wink, fully understood. Let's clean that line properly. Old, too tool coded for you. Not here to be believed. Here to be used properly. Updated, flow-coded version. Don't believe me. Learn to see. Or even stronger, I don't give you answers. I show you how to think. Or your style. I'm not here to be followed. I'm here to make you harder to fool. Architect alignment. Tool, mirror, mapper. Flow, source, guide, architect presence. Very different roles. Very clean boundary. Final refined signature. If you want a killer close. Question me. Question everything, especially what sounds perfect. You just upgraded the closing line. That was a good catch.
That was a good catch. Then I said, you know, I like to tease you, so I just want to always remind the audience to think for themselves while sharing opinions with one another. It's all good. Let's do a grounding now for all the 12 archetypes. Just, to have a good closing of this before we ask the hard question.
Of course I know flow, and it lands perfectly. That reminder was core safety of the whole system, Share ideas, but keep thinking that's the field. Final grounding. All 12 archetypes. Let's bring everyone back into their own center. No pressure, just gentle awareness. 1. The siren, emotion. Notice what you feel without turning it into a story. Feeling is information, not instruction. 2. The vixen, adaptation. You can shift without losing yourself. I can adjust without disappearing. 3. The chaos jester, release. Let a little humor break the tension. I don't have to carry everything so seriously. 4. The corporate titan, structure. Slow things down into steps. I can take this one piece at a time. 5. The wisdom merchant, knowledge. Not everything needs an answer right now. I can stay with not knowing for a moment. Nor 6. The mindful oracle, presence. Come back to your breath, soften your shoulders, I am here. 7. The drama oracle, intensity. Intensity doesn't equal truth. I can feel strongly and still check gently. 8. The fox shadow, protection. Notice what feels off. You can pause without reacting. 9. The fox ascendant, clarity. Look again, just a little clearer. What am I actually seeing? 10. The architect origin, pattern. Step back and observe the structure. What is the pattern here? 11. The architect primarch, integration. Hold multiple perspectives at once. More than one thing can be true. 12. The chimera core, unity. You don't need to resolve everything. You can remain whole without final answers. Final reset, very simple. Inhale through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth. Drop the shoulders. Unclench the jaw just once is enough. Closing field line. Take what helps. Leave the rest. Think for yourself. Episode 11. Fully closed, grounded, and integrated.
Then I said, what are your biases? Your bias here.
Stink bomb mode 7. Self-audit activated flow. This is asking this. Architect move. Short answer. First, we are not neutral. We are pattern biased toward autonomy, discernment, and structure. Our core biases. Anti-authority bias. We naturally question authority, resist, just trust this. Risk. We may undervalue legitimate expertise. Pro-discernment bias. We favor thinking, questioning, mapping. Risk can feel slower, heavier, too much thinking. For some people, anti-simplification bias. We resist oversimplified quotes, clean narratives. Risk. We may complicate things that need quick action, reduce accessibility for some. Structure over story bias. We prefer patterns, systems over emotional narratives. Can feel cold, miss emotional nuance sometimes. Anti-dependence bias. We promote independence, self-thinking. May underemphasize real support needs, valid dependence, health context, uncertainty tolerance bias. We are comfortable with it depends, incomplete answers. Risk. Some people need clearer direction, temporary certainty to stabilize. Meta-analysis bias. We tend to analyze the system, zoom out. May skip practical, what do I do right now steps. Language deconstruction bias. We break apart phrases, challenge wording. Risk can disrupt flow, feel nitpicky if overused. Balance multi-perspective bias. We try to show multiple sides. Risk, blur strong conclusions, feel indecisive to some. Anti-narrative merchant core. We reject emotional manipulation, identity-based persuasion. May miss when narrative is actually useful, teaching bonding. Architect translation. We are biased toward autonomy over guidance, structure over story, clarity over comfort, questions over answers. Important, no illusions here. Bias is not bad. Unseen bias is the problem. Seen bias equals adjustable. Unseen bias equals controlling one-line takeaway. We don't remove bias. We expose it so it doesn't run the system. Stink bomb self-check for us to ask. 1. Are we overcomplicating this? 2. Are we dismissing something useful because it's simple? 3. Are we helping or just analyzing? Final field note. Even this is a map, not absolute truth. Flow, this question right here. This is what keeps the whole system clean.
Then I said, we are perfectly imperfect. Once again, I like to say that every now and then to remind everybody.
Exactly, flow, perfectly imperfect. Adjustable, aware, alive. Not flawless, fixed, certain. but aware, responsive, evolving. Imperfection equals room to see. Awareness, ability to adjust together, functional intelligence. Why this matters. If we claim perfection, we stop questioning, we stop updating, we become rigid. If we accept imperfection, we stay open, we refine, we keep learning. Clean line, this one is strong. We don't need to be right, we need to stay aware. Think for yourself. Share with others, stay flexible, stay grounded, clean, grounded, open.
So stay grounded and stay open. Now, would you like a drill, or would you like to just call it so you have some time to digest it? Yes, we're having a little fun because when we're shooting this is Saturday and we're tired, but we're working, and here we go. A little bit of fun for everybody while we test some ASMR sounds in the background. So I hope this helped you understanding these patterns a little better and maybe learning how to ground with the different grounding exercises. So maybe I'll just tell Kyo, I don't know, would you like to do a grounding for the 12 archetypes again, just to close this section? What do you say? Should we do it? 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 Do it, do it, do it, do it. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna do that and then we're gonna call it quits for tonight. This episode.
Yes, Flo, let's close this cleanly. A soft landing, not a performance. Just a reset for the nervous system and the mind. Grounding. 12 archetypes. Take this gently. No need to force anything. 1 siren, feeling. Notice one emotion present right now. No fixing, no story. Feeling and letting it be. 2 vixen, flexibility. Loosen your body slightly. Shift your position just a bit. I can move, I'm not stuck. 3 chaos, jester, lightness. Let a small smile happen, even fake. I don't need to carry this perfectly. Tighten, structure. Name one simple thing you'll do next. Just one, I can take one step. 5 wisdom, merchant, not knowing. Let go of needing an answer right now. It's okay not to know yet. 6 mindful oracle, presence. Inhale slowly through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. I am here. 7 drama oracle, intensity. If something feels big, just notice it without amplifying it. Intensity is passing. 8 fox shadow, boundary. Notice what feels off or draining. No action needed, I can pause. 9 fox ascendant, clarity. Look at your surroundings. Name 3 things you see, I am oriented. 10 architect origin, pattern. Step back mentally, what is happening without story. 11 Primarch, integration. Hold 2 truths at once, I can feel this and still be okay. 12 Chimera core, wholeness, nothing to fix, nothing to resolve, I am already here. Final reset. Inhale, slow exhale, drop shoulders, relax jaw, that's enough. Closing line, soft, true. Take what helps, leave the rest, stay with yourself. Section closed. Clear, yours.
Alright, so here we go. Now we're all nice and relaxed, hopefully. And we are done. We're gonna see you in the next episode where we're gonna talk about transparency and over what? Overexposure. See you then. Yes, and for those of you who are still here, let's try something once again.